This is actually the only thing I learned about art in high school. Not because I had lousy art teachers, I was a lousy art student. I skipped a lot. But Charles Wallowitz III, my sculpture teacher, always used to carry a knife around with him, and he used it to sharpen his pencils. So I always think about him when I do this. The pencil is kind of an unappreciated element of sketching. Right now I'm on these Musgrave, American-made, genuine Tennessee red cedar pencils, because nobody ever sniffs a stylus. But this reveals the quality of your pencil too, which should also be a factor. And also it really irritates the janitors wherever you're drawing to make it all messy. Okay. So today, first it's always important to practice on a dead bear before you get off the bus in Denali. Okay? I also like to switch my grip around when I'm sketching sometimes. Sometimes I do it from the wrist and the fingers and it's really, really tight. And if I hold it like this, when I'm doing landscapes and when I'm sketching people, it kind of helps short circuit that tendency to start controlling right off the bat. Like, in other words, a lot of people that when they want to draw something, they'll start pecking around the edges like this. I'm going to draw this bear, and they erase, and then they start again, and they erase some more. You got to give yourself something to start with. You got to get the basic infrastructure. So what I'm trying to do now is figure out the basic, simple, underlying shapes. Just block them down. And you can even go off of stick figures. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? That'll help. So I've got this. I got a big shape back here. One of the advantages of drawing from life also is that I always tell people you need to keep a fixed position and not move your head around, not move your body. You want to always look directly at what you're sketching and minimize the traveling distance between the subject matter and your page. In other words, you don't want to do it over the shoulder or something like that. And this also, you can deviate from that by like, well, I really want to get a tail in there. So this is why it's nice drawing from life as opposed to photographs. Because if it was from a photograph, that'd be it. You wouldn't be able to see that, there's that missing link, that little bit that just makes the bear perfect, okay? So I'm gonna go back here, get to sketching some of these basic shapes, paying attention to some things called negative space underneath here. And this is where I also start to really appreciate Bob Ross, who can talk and draw at the same time. And as any of my students will tell you, sometimes I have trouble with that. And as I work my way around the subject matter, whatever it is I'm sketching, I'm going to discover that my initial marks were wrong. So when I start sketching, usually my first marks are wrong. That doesn't mean I give up. I just sketch really, really light with these basic shapes. So there's the nose, the snout, chin. Once I get some of these basic shapes blocked in, then I'm going to go back around one more time while I'm in front of the subject, switch my grip around, and now I can start working on a nice contour line. And I'll make my marks a little bit darker so that I can tell where to start inking. And also, since I'm in front of the subject matter and I've got a pocket full of Sharpies here, I'm going to break one out and use that as an opportunity to do a finished contour line after I get some of these basic shapes knocked out. So somewhere underneath all this mess, a bear is starting to appear. Working my way around here. Every time I see a contour line, a little bit of, it's not just an outline. Every time I break that outline, it will be a contour line. Back under here, down here. And this is a lot bigger than I would normally sketch a pen and ink piece. It's going to take me probably a good hour to fill in all the details on this when I'm done. If those of our viewers keeping score at home, okay, now you see the bear emerging. One more thing that I'm going to do while I've got the pencil in front of me is I'm going to take some visual notes here that are going to let me know the direction of the fur, because this is what's going to take most of the time for a pen and ink piece, is layering in the texture, which is also going to turn into a way to render volume or shadows, show value, which I'm going to indicate with some light shading here. And this means that later on, when I'm done with the reference sketch, I'll be able to spend time making my marks. The length, the thickness, the line weight of these marks, the direction, and the density of them. So where I've got some shading here is where these marks are going to become a lot closer together. And also, while I'm in front of it, would be a really good time for me to break out a couple more implements. When I'm doing this sketching for line weight, I've usually got a very thin line, a thick line, and then a ballpoint pen. I like to render in some of the texture, some of the fur. Right now I'll start with this contour line. So I've got a really good place to start. I want to spend some time making my marks. So I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. I've already got the basic forms sketched out here. I got a place to start. And once I get it to this stage, and we'll flip ahead a little bit here, I should have another one. Here's a couple in a different stage, where here I've been able to spend a little bit more time working up all of those hatch marks and cross hatching to build up the texture, to build up the tones and the value, so that eventually this is what the finished piece is going to look like right here. Granted, I got a little bit bored with the expression and changed it a little bit. So that's the whole process from beginning to end. Cut. Throw money. No. Yeah, you missed the applause. I'll write in the next term. Applause.